welcome back to FM Storey. We're about to embark on our 5th season in charge of sporting. There's been quite a lot of activity in the transfer market, both ins and outs, and there could still be even more before the transfer window closes. We've won the league for the last 3 seasons in a row, and we're the current holders of the Allianz Cup. Hopefully we can repeat with both of those, and ideally we'd like to be able to at least get to the final of Taca de Portugal as well. Before we do get started, if you do enjoy the video, please like, comment, and subscribe. And without further ado, let's get going. So we've made it to the beginning of the season. We've got the Supertaca coming up against Porto. Obviously, we beat them in the Supertaca last season. It's been a summer of change in the squad. We've also had a lot of the big boys come in for some of our players and really unsettled them. So I think we've got at least 2 players who are on the transfer list by request, one of which is on his way out, which is the goalkeeper Alban Lafont, which means we're going to be scrabbling around to find a new number 1. The other player who has been massively unsettled is Marcus Leonardo, who agreed to his asking price being 100 million, but no one will come close to that. I think the closest we had was someone offered 51 million for him. So at the moment he's still here, but obviously lots of things could happen before the end of the summer. We also, because the last few youth intakes haven't been great, we took a trek through South America in the summer and signed up a load of 18 and 19-year-old players who we've pushed into the under-23s just to develop a bit before they're ready for the first team. So let's just have a look at the transfer business we've done. In terms of outgoings, the first sort of big name to go out was Matthias Rice, who we sold for best part of 20 million to Wolves at 31. We thought that was a decent deal. We've sent a lot of players out on loan. Manu Silva, we got 12.5 million for from Brentford, which is a lot more than we paid for him, and he's barely played for us. Dragowski decided he didn't want to be a backup goalkeeper, so we sold him. So a lot of outgoings, mostly on loan. Some big money ones that we'd got in. In terms of the incomings, we got Marco Verratti on a free transfer after his contract with Barcelona ended. Obviously, he's getting on and he's got no physical ability left, but hopefully he can just be in a bit of experience we need in some big games. We signed Yannick Carrasco when his contract with Atletico Madrid ended, largely just because we haven't had anyone to play on the left-hand side. If Ismail Assar's injured, we'd had to play Leonardo there, so it's just someone to act as backup for Ismail Assar. We signed Jose Sarr on a free transfer to act as the backup goalkeeper, but with Lafont going, it might be that he has to start the season, which I'm not massively delighted about, but we'll have to see what we can do in terms of getting a replacement for Lafont. And then we signed a lot of South Americans. So the first one is Leandro Martinez, who was very highly rated, and a lot of the big clubs in Europe were after him. We managed to sneak in before any of them put in an offer. He's going to be in the first team squad, in and around that squad. Looks like a really good defender, and hopefully he can only develop further. We picked up David Hernandez, a young Colombian goalkeeper, to act as well. Hopefully he can develop. Looks like he's got really decent potential, so hopefully we can help him reach that. Dragan Asimovic we signed from Vojvodina for 2.5 million. He's already at 18, full international for Serbia. He hopefully primarily is going to be the replacement for Matthias Rice, but obviously it might take a bit of time for him to get used to things. Again, very high potential. We signed Lenin Moreira from a second division team in Ecuador, who again, very high potential, could play anywhere down that left-hand side, more likely to be another left back, but obviously does have potential to be a winger depending on how he develops. We signed another Argentinian centre-half in Ozil Oviedo. He's going into the under-23s, unlike Martinez. Probably not quite as good as Martinez, but hopefully he can develop as well. We signed Brandon Huaman from, I think it was Universitario in Peru. Again, another high potential player, can play that holding midfield role because we don't have an awful lot of the holding midfielders. But again, all these players are ones for the future, not necessarily, apart from Martinez and Asimovic who are in the first team squad, the rest of them, it'll probably be a season or two at least before they get anywhere near the first team. The final one we've signed so far is Agustin Monzon, centre forward from Argentina. Looks like a really top player, really good physicals, some really good mentals, and hopefully he can develop. We're looking at 5-star potential, but it's obviously getting him to that point. As far as the season preview is concerned, we are second favourites for the title behind Porto. Obviously, we've won the title the last 3 years. We've only got the 4 players in the team in the Media Dream 11 this season. Diamande has lost his place to Nianzou and Rual, who we both signed last season. The odds that got sent out were interesting because Diamande is favourite to be the young player of the year, but he's not, according to the Media Dream 11, according to our preview, he isn't going to play for us. Marcus Leonardo, who scored 35 goals in the league last season, isn't even included in the odds for the top goal scorer. So obviously he's likely to, potentially going to go, but no one's come anywhere near the 100 million so far. So he's certainly going to start for us this season. Whether he's still here after August or not is a different matter. But I think we've done largely good business. We've brought a lot of youngsters in for the future. So hopefully we can future-proof ourselves, whilst this season I think may probably be a slightly harder season than the previous seasons because we have lost a couple of key players. If we're going to lose Lafont as well, it's going to depend on who we can replace him with. But hopefully it's not going to cost us too much in this first game in the Supertaca. So, going into the Supertaca, we've got Jose Sarr in goal instead of Lafont. Obviously, he's on his way out. Verratti's coming to the team because Morita's out injured. But other than that, it's largely, and obviously Asimovic is coming at left back. But other than that, it's largely the team that played last season. Hopefully, we can still get off to a decent start. We've got plenty of talent on the bench if we do need to change it. But hopefully we can get off to a good start and pick up another trophy. We ought to win the ball. Sugo looking for Ismail Assar. Gone wide to look for Carboni, who loses out. And they've got Pepe in behind. Oh my god. I don't think that is offside. I thought Rualt had played him on side here. Alright, Asimovic, Rualt, Asimovic again down this left hand side. Looks for Sarr. Back to Asimovic, Menino, Asugo into Leonardo, Carboni. Surely that wasn't offside. So Sugo feeds it into Marcus Leonardo, who takes a touch round the corner to Carboni, and with his weaker right foot across the keeper and puts us in front. Right, Sanjust with a throw to Verratti, back to Sanjust. Verratti's cross is deflected up into the keeper's hand. It looks like Verratti's already picked up an injury, so that's not a good sign. Rualt wins the header. Sugo picks up the loose ball. Menino goes all the way back to the keeper. Diamande into Verratti, onto Carboni down this right hand side. Sanjust, Carboni, Verratti, Menino puts Sarr through. 2-0. Now, we've not looked as bad as I was expecting us to with the unsettledness, because Sarr was another one who had come in with big money for in the summer that we turned down. He didn't get quite as angry as Marcus Leonardo, Orgon, Carlo Estevez. All in all, considering the upheaval we've had in the squad and considering the disquiet of some of the players, that's a pretty decent performance. Not much more. I mean, we've kept them relatively quiet apart from the disallowed goal, but we've gone in front and we look good value for it, I think. The short goal kick, they're looking to pass it through us. Eustachio to... Not the best bit of defending there. There's a big gap behind the midfield. And then Eustachio slides the ball in behind Diamandi, and Zlani just dinks it over the onrushing Sal. But thankfully that was only a consolation goal. And we've picked up our first bit of silverware of the season. Obviously retained the Supertaca, and obviously it is just a glorified friendly. But it's good to start that way, good to get a good win over one of our biggest rivals, especially considering the sort of unrest we've had in the summer and the sort of upheaval of transfers in and out. Decent starting point, I think. We've made it to the end of September and we've got a big game coming up in the Champions League against Real Madrid, who knocked us out in the quarterfinals last season. So far this season, we've been very hit and miss. We've been pretty good going forward, but pretty bad at the back. We are unbeaten in all competitions since we won the Supertaca against Porto beginning of the season, but it's almost like the 4-3-3 wasn't working anymore. So in the last game, we went to the 4-2-4, and it's going to be a tough decision as to whether we stick with that or whether we go back to the 4-3-3 for the game against Real Madrid. The first game of the league season, we were home to Gil Vicente, and we got off to a cracker of a start. We were 5-1 up at half-time. The game really solidified the fact that Jose Sá's not a viable option as a number one goalkeeper. So after Lafont left, we went ahead and signed Philip Jurgensen from Villarreal for $3 million. He came in the third game, which was a big game to throw him into. After Gil Vicente, we went away to Santa Clara, and things were a bit more calm. We comfortable win. They only scored because of a penalty. But yeah, a pretty decent performance, which then led into the third game of the season, which was at home to Benfica, and we got off to a cracking start. We were 2-0 up after 20 minutes. Ismail Assar got them both. They pulled a goal back just on half time, and we just didn't particularly turn up in the second half. But we conceded 2 goals from them having 3 shots on target. It just wasn't an acceptable enough level of performance, particularly in the second half. We then went away to Estoril and played reasonably well. Thiago Thomas got a hat-trick. They pulled a goal back later on, but it was nothing more than a consolation goal. But we weren't anywhere near the kind of fluid football that we were playing in particularly in the second half of last season. It was a kind of very hit and miss Jekyll and Hyde performance. We then went away to Porto, and things didn't look particularly good, especially after they went ahead after 3 minutes. We had 2 goals disallowed before we managed to equalise in the 73rd minute. We actually got ourselves in front, but couldn't hold on. And to be honest, if we'd won, it probably would have been unfair on Porto. They were by far the better team on the day. And we were still searching for what our best lineup is. We were then at home to Club Brugge in the first Champions League game, and we played reasonably well. They were not at the races at all. It took us until the 71st minute to actually get a goal, and then we made the result look a lot more secure than it actually was by scoring 2 goals deep into injury time to complete the 3-0 victory. We were then at home to Vitória Guimarães in the 5th game of the season. They'd won 4 from 4 to start the season, and we were all over the place, to be honest. We had 2 goals disallowed in the first half. We lost Thiago Thomas to an injury early on. They opened the scoring with Victor Gyökeres just before half time. and it took until the 91st minute for us to be able to even threaten a chance, really. In the end, Ruot got a header in the 91st minute to get us the draw, but that's 3 out of the first 5 league games of the season that we'd drawn. We were then at home to Portimonense in the Allianz Cup, in the first game in the group stage. The first half was largely neither team did an awful lot until Rodrigo Ribeiro popped up to put us in front. Ismail Assar added one in the second half. In the end, it was a pretty comfortable 2-0 victory, but performance still wasn't brilliant. So as far as the league table is concerned, we're already 4 points behind Porto. We've won 3 and drawn 3 in the league, so it's not the best to start. At least we're still unbeaten. We've already played Porto and Benfica, so hopefully we can go on a run and get ourselves back up towards the top of the table. But we've got players searching for form. We're searching for whatever our best lineup is. And yeah, it's been a bit of a struggle so far, but hopefully we can shake that off when we play Real Madrid in the Champions League just now. Going into the game against Real Madrid, we opted to stick for the 4-2-4. It's probably not. We're probably going to get carved open looking at that attacking lineup that they've got. But you know what? We don't try it. We don't know. Right, so they're breaking. This is Junior. Hendrick. Who we've got enough defenders back for this? And the answer would be no, because they all went back into the box and left acres of space for Camavinga to go onto the ball on the edge of the area. Yeah. The 4-2-4 is not working, is it? Right, we've gone back to the 4-3-3. We've brought Krastev on for Chimiti. Probably not going to make a difference. And certainly not if we allow them free headers and free shots like that. This isn't going particularly well. We're not even getting close to winning the ball back. He's just spun round it. He's just spun round in a circle and got away from him, and then just the keeper fell down before it got to him. I mean, all we can say about that performance, it was an absolute shambles. Absolutely ridiculously bad. Well, what started so promisingly with that Supertaca win over Porto has rapidly descended into a farce. I know that's only the first game we've lost this season, but we've been all over the place quite a lot. I mean, Marcus Leonardo, who couldn't stop scoring last season, who was desperate to leave the club, hasn't scored in 10. We don't look like scoring anywhere near the volume of goals we did last season. We're conceding a lot more. And relatively, we haven't lost that many players. We lost the goalkeeper from the first choice team, we've lost the left back from the first choice team. And that's it. Beginning to get slightly concerned that this is just going to carry on, tumble completely out of control as the season goes on. But the positive to look at is we've got rid of playing Porto and Benfica in the first half of the season, and now we just need to put a run of good form together. We've done it before. We can do it again, surely. We'll find out next time. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you then.